Here we are going to review this beautiful poetry anthology called The Time Writer of Local and International Poems, created by a group of Dtesl groups, group students. This book has an incredible goal to connect people through this poetry, bringing us back together in our humanity and honesty. I think it succeeds. I'm going to focus on what I love most about the Malaysian poetry section, and my colleagues will share their favorite parts too.
Absolute favorite thing about this book is how it showcases Malaysian voices in such an authentic way. Let me show you about Farah Aiman's poem, If Tomorrow Were a Place. What I love most is how hopeful it is. Farah imagines tomorrow as this tangible place filled with her favorite books, warm blankets, friends who keep promises, and even beggars who don't have to beg anymore. It's so simple yet so powerful. The free verse structure makes it feel like we're reading her diary, her raw, unfiltered dreams for a better world. And here what really gets me. She's only 26, an English teacher, and she's already creating poetry that sparks conversations. The way she writes is so accessible. There's no pretentious language, just pure emotion and hope. In a world that can feel so heavy, this poem reminds us it's okay to dream of tomorrow being better.
Matters. What I appreciate most about the Malaysian sections is how these poets aren't afraid to be contemporary and relevant. Take a look at Log Copy's The Ning of May. It directly addresses Malaysian 2018 elections, election that historic moment when power changed hands for the first time since independence. This isn't poetry locked away in an ivory tower. These are poets documenting their Malaysia, their experiences, their hopes, whether it's Chloe Lim's grading about breaking after darkness in Purple, or Farah dreaming of a better tomorrow, just this streak of lines running through all those poems. The book does an excellent job analyzing these works too, explaining the free verse structures, the cultural context, and why these poems matter to Malaysia identity. Just one part of what made this book special. Let me hand it over to the next person, which is Isaac, to talk about another aspect that I love.
So, while Diana loved the Malaysian contemporary voices, I was absolutely fascinated by how this book bridges Malaysian and international poetry. The comparative approach here is brilliant. The international section features Lord Byron, She Walks in Beauty, and Emily Dickinson's Because I Could Not Stop for Death, two absolute classics of English literature. My favorite part is Dickinson's poems and how the book analyzes it. Because I Could Not Stop for Death personifies death as this polite gentleman who kindly stops for the speaker. It's not scary, it's actually kind of peaceful. What I love is how Dickinson makes death feels like a carriage ride through life stages. You pass the school, the fields, the setting sun, and then you realize centuries have passed, but it felt shorter than a day. The way this book breaks down imagery explains how death becomes a continuation, a passage towards immortality. That analysis really helped me appreciate the poem on a much deeper level. And Byron's She Walks in Beauty, the book explains how it's all about balance, light and dark, physical and spiritual, beauty existing in perfect harmony. The analysis of the AB rhyme scheme and iambic tetrameter shows how the structure itself mirrored that balance. These technical details might sound boring, but the book makes them come alive.
But here, what I really love the competitions discussion section. This book don't just throw Malaysian and international poems. It's together randomly. It's actually analyze the different and simulation. For example, Malaysian poems use free version to express freedom and flexibilization, breaking away from colonial literary tradition. Meanwhile, Brian and Dixon work in strict classical formal systems, but the meters and instruction remains.
Why? Because Malaysian literature is still young, still finding its voice, still claiming its place. These poets are documenting their specific historical moments like the 2018 elections, while Brian and Dickinson wrote from the security of established Western literary traditions. That context matters. It explains why the poems feel different. Why Malaysian poems tackle social issues directly, while international ones aim for timeless universality. This comparative lens is educational goal.
That really opened my eyes, but Alfred, you had a different favorite aspect. Set it away.
Yes, thank you both for those insights. Why you love specific poems and comparative analysis. What I love the most about this book is it has educational values and how it achieves its stated goals. Remember the opening. This book has its goals. The goals is to connect people through poetry, and I think it absolutely delivers on the promise. Thank you.
The analysis sections are phenomenal. Each poem gets broken down in terms of structure, explaining free verse versus formal meters, and why poets make those choices. Language and style, examining diction, imagery, tone, and figurative language. Themes, exploring what the poems are really about beneath the surface, and effects on readers, discussing how these poems makes us feel and how it makes us feel safe. This isn't just a summary. It's genuine literary analysis that teaches you how to read poetry critically. What I love is that it makes poetry accessible. The introduction explains that poetry analysis encourages critical thinking and interpretation skills, and also nurture empathy and also emotional intelligence. And this book provides that by showing us both Malaysian and international poems side by side. It connects us to even more culture. Yeah. Reading about Lokok Yee's, sorry for the mispronunciation, experiences as a former Royal Malaysian Air Force pilot, or learning that Byron wrote She Walks in Beauty after seeing his cousin at a London ball in 1814. These background sections humanize the poets. They're not just names on a page, but they're real people with stories.
My favorite thing is how this book made me realize poetry isn't elite or outdated. For Farah Aiman is 26 and teaching in this well, writing poetry that spark conversation. Clearly, is use some poetry to process challenging but periods in her life, realizing that the lowest moments in our life are just mere moments. These are the Dtesl classic loved in museums. Through Brian and Dixon are here to provide timeless poetry still resonates. It's all poetry that connect with the human experience, hope, beauty, mortality, change, struggle, and resilience. The book structure itself moving from local to international.
Hi, my favorite part about this book is it makes me realize that poetry is not outdated. Farhaiman is 26 and teaching English while writing poetry that sparks conversation. Chloe is using the poetry to process the most challenging periods in her life that makes us realize that the lowest moment in our life is just a moment. These are not just dusty classic locked in a museum that because Dickinson and Byron is also here too, that proving timeless poetry still resonates. It all poetry that connects with all human experience such as hope, beauty, mortality, challenge, and resilience. The book structure itself moving from local to international to cooperative discussion. It takes us on a journey. We are not just reading a poems, we are understanding how literatures develop differently across culture and context. That's all from me. Thank you.
In conclusion, this study showed that poetry is a useful tool for helping educators or pre-service teachers engage with a given theme such as war by creating poems. Poetry also allows individuals to express their feelings through creative strategy, especially metaphorical approaches. Through this, people are able to communicate their emotion using language. Typically, the poems created explore themes such as internal conflict, emotional struggles, and contemporary societal issues, demonstrating the versatility of creative expression among educators or pre-service teachers. Poetry are also enable individuals to enhance their thinking skills, including creative and critical thinking. Effective poetry training can also foster emotional awareness and personal voice among educators or pre-service teachers, thereby providing valuable insights. Overall, this study contributes to understanding the role of poetry in language learning and enables the exploration of the transformative potential or creative expression in education. It, it is also helps in developing effective pedagogical strategies and enhancing ESL student creative writing skills. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, would I recommend this book? Absolutely. If you're a literature student, a poetry lover, or someone who thinks they don't get poetry, this anthology offers something valuable. It proves that poetry really can connect us through our shared humanity. It teaches critical analysis skills. It preserves Malaysian voice and honors international classics, and most importantly, it reminds us that even in our differences, structural, cultural, contextual, and we're all exploring the same fundamental human themes. Thank you to Balkis, Isaac, and of course me, Diana, Tiffany, for creating these thoughtful collections. And thank you all for watching our review.
Bye.